Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for May 16th through the 22nd of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. So Sagittarius, this week we have a full moon on Saturday, which is going to be right on the cusp between your 11th house and your 12th house, right in between Libra and Scorpio. So this is a culminating time, and I think as the week unfolds, there is a bit of this gaining energy, right? And this is a end of the week, a weekend of insight, a weekend of culmination, and it's specifically involving these two areas. The 11th house is your aspirations, right? This is everything involving your hopes, your wishes, things involving the future. For some of you, if you've been involved with this over the past 6 months, maybe community things or networking or friends. That kind of stuff is coming to a high point, and what really happens during a full moon is we get this sort of status check, and we can see that some things are working, some things are not working in this area, and making those adjustments, right, and continuing to cultivate those things. Now, what I think will be a stronger energy of the full moon is your 12th house. And I say that because you've had Mars and Saturn both retrograde in your 12th. So there's already been a lot of this reflective energy, I think, in terms of where you can have more surrender in your life, where you can have more acceptance in your life. And that leads to the peace, right? And that's what the 12th house is at the end of the day. It's really the house of peace and true happiness. True happiness through connecting to God, to connecting to the present moment and having that acceptance there, acceptance of how things are. And that leads to the peace, that leads to that happiness and the fulfillment of, not having to have everything known or figured out, and the tremendous tranquility that arises from that. So anyways, there's been a lot of energy with that. I think you may even be reflecting in terms of where you've been putting your energy with this retrograde in your 12th house, maybe in regards to your alone time, maybe in regards to anxieties or fears or those kinds of things. For some of you, maybe taking your spirituality seriously lately, over the past year or so with Saturn in this 12th house. So this full moon is going to activate that, and I think it's a great time to see where we can have a bit more of that acceptance in our life, which again does lead to that peace and tranquility, right? And if you have been involved with anything over the past 12 months relating to spirituality, or relating to letting go, or that alone time, it could be a culminating time of that and continuing to move forward with those things. So that's going to be the weekend. Now, as we approach that full moon, we do have a very important aspect this week involving your ruler Jupiter. Jupiter is going to be squaring up to Saturn, and this is going to go exact of Thursday of next week. All right, so it's a very slow moving aspect involving two slow movers, so it drags out the aspect. All right, and I think this whole week as a backdrop, and especially as we go into next week, it's really accentuating this. So what this means is that Saturn, the planet of limitation, the planet of working hard in that 12th house, again, of having this more grounded approach to this acceptance of life, is squaring up to your ruler. So the key with this is to have this willingness to self-limit, to have patience right now. And I would say specifically involving this adventurous stuff, because Jupiter just recently went direct last week, so you guys are starting to move forward. Over the past 5 months, it's been a bit more reflective. But now you have that forward-moving energy, and I think where there is that energy is in terms of tapping into that spirit of life, that adventurousness, or the philosophical nature for some of you, examining what life is about. These kinds of things. But whatever it's been for you, this is a great area to continue to cultivate, both because your ruler's here, but also the North Node has recently entered into here and will be here for the next 2 years, suggesting that this is your life path at the moment to be cultivating more of this adventurousness in your life, whether it's external or internal. So Saturn's here squaring it, saying just with patience, right? Have that self-limitation, have that patience, work smart, right? See the long road, the big picture, and these kinds of things, and that helps keep everything nice and grounded. In fact, this combination is really the expansion of Jupiter, your ruler, and Saturn's limitation. And when you combine these in a square, it's that constructive growth, the steady growth. And I think it's particularly involving you continuing to develop yourself spiritually, or what I call spiritually, but it's really just that acceptance, and also developing this adventurous spirit and expanding your horizons. So that's going to be, like I said, most important next week, but definitely a backdrop to this week. Now, as we approach that full moon on Saturday, we do have Venus shifting into Taurus, which is an important area for you because just last weekend, you had the sun shift into Taurus, into your 6th house. So there's this energy this week, and really for about the next month, for you to gain through maybe your work, maybe your self-improvement, your routine, your regimens, these kinds of matters. And I think midweek, Venus shifting into here means you can enjoy it. Maybe enjoying those connections at work or seeing what you really value in the everyday sphere or can enjoy with self-improvement. All right, good area for you to focus. This is where the next new moon is going to be in about 2 weeks. So it's just moving forward and cultivating that stuff. Now, the full moon, like I said, Saturday. So this is going to be the high points, highest energy point of the week. And it's a good status check to see how your aspirations are going, how your spirituality is going. It's going to be very important to have balance during this full moon because it is going to be a very close conjunction with that Mars, which is re-examining where you have been putting your energy in terms of maybe where you can have a bit of a healthy sense of alone time and a healthy sense of acceptance, right? Which is a lot of the stuff you're learning about with that Mars retrograde there. And how to have perhaps a bit more of a passive approach, sensitive and receptive approach to taking action. Now, the balancing point really comes into effect with that Sun and Venus, for that matter, in the 6th. So this is that it's great for you to be developing the everyday stuff, your routine, your health, your diet regiments, by having that, I think, presence and perhaps spiritual discipline integrated into it. And vice versa, maybe having a bit of that routine and regimen in your life so that you can develop your spirituality. Because, you know, if you look at real spiritual activities, they do require a tremendous amount of discipline and having a good structure, a good routine in our life, right? So that's the balancing point, having the everyday as well as the spiritual in a nice grounded and balanced sense. Now, Mercury is going to go direct on Sunday going into next week, so there is this shift of your self-expression, which has been a big emphasis for you. You have the Sun and Venus in that 5th, and Mercury still retrograde this week. So continuing this week to reflect on your self-expression, reflect on those things that are important to you, that are close to your heart. And then as we go into next week, there is this sort of shift. And I think a lot of the stuff you've learned about your self-expression begins to move forward, and you can cultivate a lot of that stuff. All right. So Sagittarius, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.